Hello, everybody. This is Ryan Koki of the Seahawks Recap Show. Welcome to the Seahawks game recap 49ers versus Seahawks for this week 14 matchup. And it's another loss. And how many times am I going to say that? It's a 4-game losing streak that the Seahawks are on. And this is the first time in the Pete Carroll era where we have had a 4-game losing streak. And this one just sucks. I was kind of expecting it. The 49ers have been a force to be reckoned with all season long. And honestly, 6-7, I hate it. I honestly really do hate it, but this was kind of expected. I just hope we can bounce back against the Eagles in week 15 on Monday Night Football. It was a 28-16 win for the 49ers. And since the 49ers were at home, let's start off with their stats first. They had 527 total yards, 364 passing yards, 173 rushing yards, 9.9 yards per play, 19 first downs. They went 6 for 11 on third down. They didn't go for it on fourth down. They had 53 total plays, 3 sacks allowed, 5 punts, 5 penalties for 30 yards given up, 1 fumble lost, and 1 interception thrown. Both were from Julian Love. Julian Love stripped Brandon Ayuk and gave the ball back, and he also picked off Brock Purdy after Brandon Ayuk. The ball just bounced off his hands, and Julian Love goes and picks it. They also had 29 minutes and 15 seconds of possession time. For your Seattle Seahawks, we had 324 total yards, 254 passing yards, 70 rushing yards, averaged 5.9 yards per play, 17 first downs. We went 2 for 11 on third down efficiency. This third down conversion rate is just something else. And honestly, I'm tired of talking about it. I'm tired of talking about it because I've talked about it so many times and we just can't seem to figure it out. I've got a few things that I want to talk about later on in the episode about this third down conversion rate, but for right now, it's 2 and 11. We went 0 for 1 on fourth down. We had 55 total plays, 4 sacks allowed, 6 punts, 5 penalties for 39 yards given up. Considering that we're one of the most penalized teams in the NFL, actually, I believe we're the most penalized team in the NFL. Giving up 5 penalties isn't bad. I will consider that a positive. We had 0 fumbles lost and 2 interceptions thrown. These were both by Drew Lock, one to Jair Brown, and the other one to Fred Warner. So, what you're going to do, Drew Lock is the backup quarterback for a reason, and he had a pretty decent day, all things considered. We had 30 minutes and 45 seconds of possession time. For Ryan's focus players, let's start off with the home team in the 49ers, and let's talk about Brock Purdy. 19 for 27, 368 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. And honestly, Brock Purdy, man, he is not getting enough credit. I know that people say, oh, he's part of the Kyle Shanahan system, and that's why he's being so good. But this guy, you watch the games that he's played in, sure, he's making some mistakes, but honestly, this guy has been very, very solid coming into the 49ers and playing with so many different weapons and, being able to utilize them all in an efficient manner. Like, he's done excellent. Let's get to the running back, and it's Christian McCaffrey. What else is new? It seems like deja vu. 16 carries, 145 yards, averaged 9.1 yards per carry with 0 touchdowns. But man, the first play of the game, okay, so Seahawks are kicking it to the 49ers. Christian McCaffrey at the line of scrimmage just goes, hey guys, you want to hand it off to me? Okay, I'm going to run for 72 yards on my first rush of the game and get up to the 3 yard line for you. And then you're going to punch it in, all right? It was a 2 play drive for the 49ers on their opening series of the game. That's how good Christian McCaffrey was. And honestly, the guy, again, can't say enough about him. He was a former Panther and he got injured. He got a lot of injuries with the Panthers, and he was seen as, oh, maybe he's not as good. Maybe he's not going to be as good as he's ever been. And then he gets to the 49ers, he gets traded, and he gets to the 49ers and he continues on this all pro pace. He's now found his groove again, and it's just insane to see because Christian McCaffrey is just an elusive guy. He's a do it all running back, and he's very fun to watch. Again, wish he wasn't on the 49ers because I had to face him twice a year, but a nice game from Christian McCaffrey, all things considered. And another nice game from who else but Deebo Samuel. 7 receptions, 149 yards, averaged 21.3 yards per reception, had one receiving touchdown as well, one carry, 1 yard, averaged 1 yard, and had the one rushing touchdown as well. Another dynamic weapon in a sea of weapons for Brock Purdy. This man's footwork, this man's breakaway speed is something else. And I will get later on into his receiving touchdown in the video because we got to talk about what's been going on with Jamal Adams. But let's talk about the Seahawks offense and Drew Lock. So no Geno Smith for this game. He was trying to go. He was on the field trying to get ready to go, but he had injured his groin on Thursday, and we had tried to get him some practice reps before the game started, and he couldn't run his body efficiently enough to be considered ready to go for this game. So we bring in Drew Lock, and all things considered, man, his first start since the Russell Wilson trade in 2022. So not too shabby. 22 for 31, 269 yards, 2 touchdowns. Yes, the 2 interceptions, but what are you expecting from a guy who's coming in kind of cold against one of the best defenses in the NFL? Ultimately, the one touchdown to DK Metcalf to trade touchdowns in the first quarter, a really nice gunslinging throw, just beautiful from Drew Lock. And honestly, his offensive line did decent, and then they just didn't. So, him trying to evade pressure, he got out of the pocket and was a little bit of a scrambler in this game. Nice to see him holding in the pocket. Just need to see him clean up the turnovers a little bit. His 2 interceptions were underthrown balls. One of them really was his fault. That was the pick to Jair Brown, just straight to him. The other one was the Fred Warner interception, and honestly, it was a 13. So he had to throw it up, and it was just a little bit underthrown, and of course, it was picked off because Fred Warner is a beast. All things considered, decent game from Drew Lock. And we get to the running back, and I'm so glad he's back. Kenneth Walker. I made him my focus player because he had 8 carries for 21 yards, averaged 2.9 yards per carry. Not great, 0 touchdowns. But, coming off an oblique injury where he missed, I believe, the last 2 games, but he had 4 receptions for 33 yards, averaged 8.2 yards per reception, 0 touchdowns. And he looked okay for a guy that did just come off of injury, an oblique injury. The way he was able to reverse field in this game, at least in the passing game, was really impressive. He took a play where he got it thrown to him, and he's in the backfield, and he's going to lose yardage. And then he takes the play, goes, okay, I'm going to lose yardage if I do this. So I'm going to reverse field, get behind my blockers, have Drew Lock even throw a block for me, and then get a bunch of yardage. So it was really nice to see. And I think Kenneth Walker will get back into the swing of things in no time. We get to the wide receiver, and it is Tyler Lockett. 6 receptions, 89 yards, averaged 14.8 yards per reception, 0 touchdowns. Again, just a reliable wide receiver. He did a lot of good things with Drew Lock, helping him out when there was pressure in his face, making sure that he could get open as soon as possible so that Drew Lock didn't have to get as many sacks as he was taking. And that's what happens when you have a mature wide receiver on the field. They just know where to go and know how to help out young quarterbacks like Drew Lock. On the defensive side of things, let's talk about the 49ers. Talk about Nick Bosa on the D-line. Who else am I going to talk about? 4 solo tackles, 2 assisted, 1.5 sacks, 0 forced fumbles. Just a monster of a defensive line that allows Nick Bosa to get in there for sacks, that allows this defense to just be exceptionally good because the pass rush is immaculate. And, well, I believe it was 12 or 13 pressures in this game on 30 dropbacks for Drew Lock. So our offensive line for the Seahawks didn't do awesome in the second half at all. That's where the majority of the sacks came from. But honestly, in the first half, we were doing pretty decent. So against this front four, not too shabby. Just wish we wouldn't have given up as many sacks as we did. But what can you do? Let's talk about DB safety. Jair Brown, 5 solo tackles, 1 assisted, 0 sacks, 1 interception. And this was the easiest pick of this young rookie's career, his second pick in his career. And it was just thrown right to him. Like, I don't even know where Drew Lock was throwing it. I think he was trying to throw it to DK Metcalf, and he not only underthrew it, but he also threw it right to Jair Brown. So a good game from the safety, honestly. You guys, with your safety help, even with Fungaloa going down earlier from the injury, this Jair Brown kid has done very well for you guys. So good to see that from a young player. Next, we're talking about linebacker, and who else but Fred Warner. 4 solo tackles, 4 assisted, 0 sacks, the 1 interception. And this interception, people are kind of mad about because the lateral forward pass that he did, and a bunch of other things went down after that play that got 2 players ejected in this game. That was Lenore and DK Metcalf. From the play on the field, Fred Warner is just a very, very good middle linebacker. He knows where to be. He's a big hitter. He can make sure that, the run is stopped, which the Seahawks love to do. That's why the Seahawks only had 70 yards of rushing, because his defense is a very good fit against the run. Next up, we got the Seahawks defense, and we didn't do so bad. It's just a little bit of big splash plays that we let up on the secondary side of things. Dermont Jones, man, 4 solo tackles, no assisted, 1 sack, no forced fumbles. Man, we got in there for some pressure ourselves, and it's really nice to see that Jaron Reed and Dermont Jones are actually working together. And also Leonard Williams, the new addition, working together. It looks like just a little bit more practice would be really good for these guys. Imagine a full season with these guys, and I think they'll do just fine on the pass rush front. But nice to see Dermont Jones get another sack in this game. He did great on the pressure side of things. Julian Love, 5 solo tackles, 1 assisted, 1 forced fumble, 1 interception. And I believe this is his best game as a Seahawk. Brendan Ayuk, he's on Brendan Ayuk, and honestly, just a pass off the hands, he intercepts it. So much ball knowledge, knowing where the ball is going to be, anticipating the throw, and anticipating where the ball is going to land, and he just picks it off. Beautiful. Trying to keep us in this game. And another one, forced fumble. He strips Brendan Ayuk, and it was just a beautiful piece of play because, sure, he gave up the big yardage, but he never gave up on the play, and that makes up for it because he batted the ball out of the hands of Brendan Ayuk and then stripped it, and it got picked up by, I believe, Rick Woolen, and that gave us the ball back. So he was keeping us, or at least trying to keep us in the second half in this game. But we're talking about linebacker, and it's Bobby Wagner. Again, 5 solo tackles, 0 sacks, 0 interceptions. And there are some places where Bobby Wagner got burned, but there are other places where, honestly, thinking about linebackers, Jordan Brooks didn't have a very good game. Nobody on this linebacking core really had a good game except for Bobby Wagner. Kind of, if I'm being completely honest. And nice stop in the run game. There were some plays in there where Bobby Wagner was getting in the backfield ready for Christian McCaffrey, and it's just nice to see that the 12-year vet is still able to at least be able to stop the run. Let's get into Ryan's final thoughts. What went well? We had some plays in there that looked really good. Drew Lock, I think, honestly played decent considering he's our backup QB. Julian Love played one of his best games as a Seahawk and kept us in it. Honestly, people are really mad that Drew Lock threw the 2 interceptions, but honestly, for his first start since 2022, I think he did all right. It was more of what to improve on. Just a lot of big plays given up by this defense, just a lot of explosive plays. There's a lot of times where you saw Deebo Samuel go down the field and gash us in the passing game. And then the 72-yard rush from Christian McCaffrey, first play from scrimmage, just nobody able to tackle. And that's another big thing is the tackling. The tackling has been kind of abysmal. Actually, no, not kind of. It's been pretty bad. Like, I'm not going to lie to you. We just can't wrap up. And I know, again, it's the 49ers offense. What are you expecting us to do? Well, I'm expecting you guys to wrap up a lot more, and it just hasn't been going on. But you do that too many times against San Francisco, they're going to find a way to beat you. For the offensive side of the ball, stop running it on second and long. The more and more I see Shane Waldron running the ball on second and long makes me want to throw up because, dude, that's why our third down conversion rate is so terrible. You're not putting us in a position where third and manageable is even a thing. If you're wondering what third and manageable is, it's third and fives, third and fours, those kind of things. You need to make sure that we're not put in a situation where we run for it's like second and 13, we run for 2 yards, and now we're at third and freaking 11. I'm not happy with that because now we need to throw the ball on third down. It's getting too predictable. Everybody knows you're going to do it. And that's why our play calling has been so stale because now everyone knows, oh, the Seahawks are going to probably throw it on first down or probably run it. But on second down, they're obviously going to run it every single down because that's every time we get into second down, we always run it. We need to start passing the ball a lot more on second down or even using a play action on second down because at this point, people are expecting us to run it. My final thoughts on a 4-game losing streak now, and it really sucks because we have Philly next week on Monday Night Football, and that's going to be no cakewalk. Jamal Adams, okay? Jamal. He needs to change his position to linebacker, and I'm not even kidding you because he's not a safety. The amount of times I have seen him get burned this season by guys that are faster than him, the Deebo Samuel touchdown should have never even been a touchdown. Okay? Deebo is fast. He is one of the fastest players in the league, in my opinion. But man, Jamal Adams just can't cover. He can't. Realize that Jamal Adams is a pass rusher. Use him as an off-the-ball linebacker. Don't use him as a safety. Put Julian Love in that strong safety spot and you would have better results. Because right now, you're looking at it and he can't cover slot receivers. He's just not fast enough. He will get outrun because he's not fast enough. He doesn't have the foot speed. He doesn't have the foot speed and he doesn't have the effort. Jamal, I'm tired of defending you because you always seem to let me down. You are playing for your job. People are mad at you, and now I've been your biggest defender, but now I'm getting mad because I'm seeing what people are now putting down. You are not a coverage safety. People are saying, oh, but he's a hybrid safety. He's supposed to be playing in the box. He's a box safety. That's not a box safety. If he can only rush the passer, if he can only cover tight ends, he is a linebacker at the safety position. You need to make that change. Stop. Clint Hurt, please, making Jamal Adams cover people that you know he can't cover. It's been proven time and time again that he can't cover these super fast wide receivers. Put him on, if he's gonna stay at strong safety, put him on like, Brennan Ayuk, who's not as fast. Brennan Ayuk's still fast, but he's not as fast as a Deebo Samuel. Put him on a George Kittle or something like that. I don't know what to do at that point with Jamal Adams, but he needs to start playing better. And honestly, he needs to stop the off the field stuff as well. There was one point, I believe it was a Cowboys reporter that he got into a little bit of a heated argument with because the Cowboys reporter was right. He just said, "What's up with your play recently?" And Jamal basically went on Twitter and posted pictures of his wife and was like, "Oh, yikes, da 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 da," and it was a big thing, and you know, that's just not classy. You need to be more mature than that. I'm done with the attitude when people call you out and you're not playing well and you still show that you're not playing well. Let your play do the talking, and don't run your mouth as much. Anyways, that is it for the Seahawks game recap. 49ers versus Seahawks for week 14. I hope you enjoyed this video, and a little bit sorry for the rant, but it's really heating because this is so frustrating. This has been Ryan Koki of the Seahawks game recap show, signing off. Go Hawks, go, and let's see if we can make it back to 500 in week 15 when we take on Philly in next week's game.